Well, hello there. In this video, it's high time I share with you guys that my family has bittersweet news, but mostly sweet news, and that we have left South Park and moved to whiter pastures on Colorado's western slope. As you can see, the weather was pretty contrasting between the eastern slope and the western slope on moving day.
Snow?
What have you got there?
Can you get it?
Our move was definitely not snow-related, but a skiing nerd like myself cannot help but salivate at the opportunity to explore new terrain in Colorado's western slope powder, which tends to fall a little more regularly during the core winter months and more evenly thanks to less wind. I hiked up a ridge behind town to give you a little look at the lay of the land in our new location. While our location in South Park offered us 180-degree views of soaring 13ers and 14ers, as well as pleasantly cool and fairly wet summers, and sometimes abundant spring snowfall, our new location at a more modest elevation should offer us 4 more equal seasons and snowbound elevations of 9,000 to 12,000 feet within half an hour's drive or so. One bittersweet part of our move is that I've only actually moved in part. What you just saw were my accommodations for the work week, at least during the first month or so following our move. Evening ski on Hoosier Pass. It's very cold and snowed a little bit. A little dust on top of the tiny snowpack that has been existing. Well, I'd say the opposite of steep and deep must be shallow and shallow. And that describes what I'm skiing this evening. But there's just enough snow to be treacherous. Hide something lurking underneath. Still fun though. During my first week of conditional bachelorhood, I managed to get out on Hoosier Pass 3 times. Really, Hoosier Pass is the only place around South Park that's worth skiing at the moment. And worth is a relative term. You kind of have to be a big nerd. Each day that week did offer little refreshes to the snowpack, and also skiing temperatures roughly between 0 and 10 degrees Fahrenheit. It was a nice wake-up call to what winter car camping will be. Even though the snow wasn't deep, conditions were really nice. One thing I'm looking forward to in the coming months, during which I have to flip-flop back and forth between east of the Divide and west of the Divide, is comparing the snowpack in the east and then on the Divide itself and on Colorado's western slope. I'll be doing this not as a meteorologist or climatologist or snowpack scientist or anything like that, but just as a skier who has the opportunity to make these comparisons. It's of interest to me, and I think it might be of interest to others. I'll also continue to try out the different parts of my cross-country ski quiver to see how they respond in different types of snowpack. For those of you who live somewhere that's still waiting for snow, enjoy these next couple minutes of me showing the early conditions here in Colorado's Rocky Mountains. For the best, not too many slabs, not too many rocks. Definitely on the shallow side up here. I'm on Hoosier Pass. It's November 16th. And even though it's snowed a little bit each of the last probably 4 days now, snowpack's sitting at maybe just like a little over 50% of average for the date. Take it slow here because it's shallow. whereas some of the places west of the 10-mile range are well above 100% for the date. Even some sitting around 150 to 250%, especially the further west you get. You probably heard me grind over a couple of rocks back there. I'm on my old Proto S-bounds, the S-bounds out-of-bound crown. Kind of similar to today's Fisher Excursion 88 ski. These have the negative pattern just cut into the base of the ski. They're not good for climbing, although if you're willing to use your arms and take shallow angles, they'll get the job done. But they are really good on the kick and glide, and they're up to the task on the downhill, decent for edge hold, not the best for floating, but I really love them in firm conditions compared to some of the more noodly skis like the modern S-bounds or the Anims and those lines of skis. Those are great in soft snow though. If I can't find the spot I was skiing yesterday. Through here. This isn't it, but might do. Shallow. Probably reached the end of the line. But there's time still to head up and do it again. That looks like a great line. Let's do that one. Just a little less grip in these cold, powdery conditions. Here's where I came up on the Anims yesterday. You can see if these skis can make the same angle. Ooh, definitely a lot of arm and a lot of backsliding. I'd say they will not climb at the same slope steepness as the Anims. Alright, I think I can string together a pretty long line here. Being an incorrigible ski nerd, one of my vices is spending loads of time following as many weather blogs as I can access for free. On one of these blogs, a meteorologist explained that a significant portion of Colorado is often in drought because the state straddles the Continental Divide. If the storm track is coming from the west, as it often does during the cold months, then east of the divide tends to be dry. If precipitation is being driven by cold fronts down the plains, or maybe Gulf of Mexico moisture being wrapped eastward against the mountains, as often happens in the spring, then west of the divide can be a little drier. I say this to acknowledge the high degree of weather variance that may or may not be captured by my videos over the small sample size of one winter.
Here's a little look at the evening sky.
Here's a peek at roughly 10,000 feet east of the divide, almost no snow, November 17th, and now the western slope just over 6,000 feet, 10 days after the most recent significant snowfall. And also a little family shuffle ski outing, just to sample the snow in the nearby flat tops at about 8,500 feet. Apparently, lately, every time I go skiing with other people, I cause massive gear failure. This time it was forgetting a second set of poles.
What are you trying to get? Oh, did you drop them? Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, no, here's your fishies. And here's some yogurt bites. Oh, yeah, we spilled those everywhere.
It's not deep, but it's doable. According to SnowTel data, the mountain pass a couple thousand feet above us here, just pretty close by, had maybe about a 4-foot deep snowpack. In the sports world, sometimes people use the cliche that the best ability is availability, referring to athletes who are injured often. Maybe the skiing spin I'll put on that is that the best ability is accessibility. Once the local hunting season is over, we'll see what access is like. Right now, the hunters are helping to keep these roads open. But I think I'll gladly accept the long approaches that go with deeper snowpack and fewer Denver crowds. Lies, Maggie. From Western Colorado, happy Thanksgiving.